Today, we're going to have an uncomfortable conversation for some Cardinal fans. Today, we're going to be diving into the 2025 season and how massively of an expectation the Cardinals fan base has for this Cardinals organization to finally make a playoff push. Today, we're really going to focus on Kyler Murray. Is he finally going to be the guy to win us a playoff game? Or are we going to be sitting at the end of 2025 with very uncomfortable questions? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be having a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation for some Cardinal fans out there that love and breathe nothing but Kyler Murray. And today, I really want to kind of dive into how I feel about Kyler Murray going into 2025, because as you already know, after free agency, after the draft, the Cardinals are going full guns a-blazing, 110% sold in on the fact that Kyler Murray going into year 3 with Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing, and year 7 of his NFL career. They truly believe that he can become the guy to eventually win us a Lombardi. But honestly, I'm just looking for a playoff win at the end of the day. I truly do believe that the Arizona Cardinals are fully bought in, that Kyler Murray can eventually bring us some sort of big win at the end of the 2025 season. Now, I want to really preface the fact that this year in 2025 is such a massive year for this Cardinals organization. Kyler Murray, Drew Petzing, all of the above, everybody's eyes are on Kyler Murray and this Cardinals organization to take the next step and hopefully make a playoff push. It's absolutely been a very long time since the Cardinals have been at this level and kind of feel like they've been rebuilding for a very long time. So they had the appropriate pieces in free agency, added the appropriate pieces in the draft, and the multiple other drafts from Monty Allsuport. This is the time to now go into 2025 with the expectations of playoffs. Marvin Harrison Jr. said it. Buda Baker said it. So the mindset of these players are going to be playoffs. That's what they are fighting for in 2025. Now, there's this big narrative out there that a lot of fans think that specifically me, do not like Kyler Murray. That's actually far from the truth. I do like Kyler Murray. I want him to succeed. Do I set him to a high standard because of him being a quarterback, one of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL? Of course I do. I want this organization to succeed. I want this Arizona Cardinals team to not be the team that people look on their schedule and say, oh, that's an easy win for my team. But the big question here is Kyler Murray finally going to take that next step and deliver us a playoff win? Now, let's go and dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about this, because I've seen a couple of different videos out there about Kyler Murray being, this is going to be his MVP year. And I've seen some videos out there saying that, nah, Kyler Murray is not the guy. So I wanted to kind of get my own 2 cents in this whole situation and kind of take it back to, how Kyler Murray got to the level of, having a very split fan base, because believe it or not, I do believe that Kyler Murray has done good things in the last several years, especially with Jonathan Gannon coming into this regime as the head coach. He's done a lot of good things. He ended up having the softball foundation for himself and had a pretty good showing. But there's a lot of split amongst this fan base right now. And if you do not know, then you're probably living in your own world, in your own bubble. There's a lot of Cardinal fans right now that are ready to move off of Kyler. But if the Arizona Cardinals are ready to go into 2025 and they're fully bought in, all I can say right now is, okay, let's get this going and let's get this expectations to playoffs, right? Now, let's talk about what Kyler Murray has done in his career as the Arizona Cardinals franchise quarterback. As of right now, his record stands as 36-45-1. And I am one of those guys that do truly feel like the record doesn't really predict in terms of how good a quarterback could be. And yes, there's a lot of factors that play into why a team loses on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So I'm not going to come out here and say, oh, 36-45-1, he is a bad quarterback, because that's not the case. He is a good quarterback that could potentially be a great quarterback, but's got a there is very much a level of untapped potential when it comes down to Kyler Murray. Now, we knew that under the Cliff Kingsbury regime, the plan and the idea was hero football, right? We're going to air raid this ball around and it's going to be a magical offense. And it worked for the first couple years. And of course, that last year with Cliff Kingsbury, all things kind of came crashing down. But I do believe it was more of an internal turmoil issue that ended up kind of transpiring, especially when all the losses kind of kept stacking up. But now this new approach with this new regime with Drew Petzing was this is going to be a run heavy offense with James Conner. Now, there's some fans out there that feel like Kyler Murray's untapped potential cannot thrive in this offense, but there's some pros and cons to the idea that the Arizona Cardinals are going a run heavy offense, right? And the fact is, Kyler Murray's not getting a lot of punishment, right? Because it's going to be a run heavy offense. So most plays are going to be through James Conner and the rest of your running backs. If we do allow Kyler Murray to have that, air raid style offense where he's using his legs a lot more, like he did in 2020 and in 2021, then there is a level of risk that comes along with it. Now, Kyler Murray did come out and say that he wants to use his legs a lot more in 2025. And honestly, if Kyler Murray wants to be that MVP caliber type of quarterback, he is going to have to unlock the level of using his legs because that's what makes him dynamic, right? His big arm, his ability to scramble out of the pocket and play pretty much backyard football, which there's a lot of players in the NFL that really hate this type of style of football because they can't catch him, right? At the end of the day, they can't catch Kyler Murray if he's playing at a very MVP type of level. Now, this is what's going to go back to this situation. Kyler Murray is very, very good in September, October. When it comes down to the cold seasons in the second half of the NFL schedule, that's where things kind of start collapsing for the Arizona Cardinals. And this is something that I'm really going to keep my eye on if Kyler Murray and this organization continues this trend, because that's the stigma. It doesn't matter that the Arizona Cardinals are 6-0, 7-0, 8-1, 8-2 at one point, right? And this last year, 6-4 going into the bye week. Every single year under the Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury era, Kyler Murray and Jonathan, Gannon era, there is a sense of the Arizona Cardinals not being able to finish in the second half of the season. And that's one of the big, big things that the Arizona Cardinals need to focus on is how are we going to be able to get this offense, get this team defensively and offensively to be able to play from September all the way to December, because December and November is playoff atmosphere. And that's when you're really going to have to come out and show out and be that team that you want to be in, hopefully when you're playing in January. And Kyler Murray right now with the Arizona Cardinals under the tenure, that is a big stigma on the Cardinals. They can't win big games. They collapse every single year at the end part of the season. And that's one thing that I really would love to see change for the Arizona Cardinals here in 2025. Now, here's the unfortunate part. I don't know if you guys noticed the schedule. The Arizona Cardinals have a very favorable schedule on paper, right? In the beginning part of the schedule, pretty darn favorable. You can definitely very well stack up some wins. But that last part of the schedule for the Arizona Cardinals, where you're playing a lot of potential playoff teams with the Rams twice, the Bengals, the Texans, there's a lot of teams in the back end of the schedule. You're going to have to really put your best foot forward and win these games. Now, it seems like the trend will continue where maybe there will be another collapse at the end of the season, but that's something, like I mentioned before, we need to see fixed from Kyler Murray and this Arizona Cardinals regime. This is such an absolute massive year for Kyler Murray. There's some people that truly believe that if the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray do not take the next step this year, the Arizona Cardinals can very well draft their next quarterback in the 2026 NFL draft. But at this point, we have to kind of wait and see what Kyler Murray can do. I do believe he's got the intangibles in terms of can he be a good quarterback? Yes, absolutely he can. Now, yes, he needs to be protected. Yes, the wide receivers need to cause separation. Now, that's going to cause me into my next segue. I do believe that the Cardinals need to go after another wide receiver personally, but it definitely feels like Monty Ossenfort in this regime truly believes in the wide receiving core in Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Greg Dortch. I'm going to come back and sit back and say, okay, Monty Ossenfort and this rest of this regime, you know a lot better football than I do. So I'm going to put all my full 110% trust in you. If you truly believe that this is going to be the weaponry needed for Kyler Murray to win those big games in the end part of the season, I'm putting all my faith and trust in you. Obviously, with the wide receiving core that we have, I'm a little shaky, but if they truly believe, then let's go ahead and see exactly what happens. Now, there's a lot of teams that do not have the top caliber, tight end that the Arizona Cardinals do in Trey McBride. That's probably what they're leaning on as well with Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, Trey McBride. And if you want to throw Greg Dortch in there as well, you can definitely very well do so. But I do think that right now the Arizona Cardinals are primed to hopefully make some sort of playoff push. Now, I want to very much preface the fact that this year isn't solely on Kyler Murray, right? If the Arizona Cardinals do not make the playoffs in 2025 or have an absolute terrible season and collapse and burn and crash at the end of the season, there's going to be a lot of blame going around throughout the entirety of the organization. Now, of course, a lot of Cardinal fans out there really had their target set on Drew Petzing last year. I wasn't one of those Cardinal fans. I do believe that Drew Petzing did bring a level of competency when it comes down to running a very, very high efficient run game. James Conner was one of the most efficient running backs with the offensive line that we have. And yes, there is a stat when it comes down to the offensive line being able to pass pro or being able to, block for a specific run. But I think at the end of the day here, the Arizona Cardinals need to be able to kind of open up the playbook. If the Arizona Cardinals are not able to get this offense going into the level that we all know it can be, especially with having such a dynamic quarterback like Kyler Murray, there's going to be a lot of potential very, very hard questions at the end of the season. Now, do I believe the Arizona Cardinals are going to have a good season? Of course I do, right? Anytime September comes around, you have a level of optimism. I have the Cardinals winning 11 games. If I didn't have some sort of expectation or some sort of, belief in our current state of the quarterback state, right? I wouldn't have said the Arizona Cardinals are going to win 11 games. But at the end of the day, it's going to be what's on paper compared to can you actually do it on the field week in and week out. And this is a massive year. And I want to preface, this is a massive year for the Arizona Cardinals to take that next step. And I think this organization truly believes that exact same thing as well. Now, to me, would the Arizona Cardinals benefited from drafting a quarterback? Yeah, they would have benefited from drafting a quarterback, especially when Shedeur Sanders kept falling and falling and falling. But you also got to realize that if the Cardinals were to do something like that, how much media, how much question marks, how much internal turmoil will happen if the Cardinals did something like that. The Cardinals were very, very serious into making one move real, and that is that their belief in Kyler Murray was that it was this year. They wanted the full trust in him, saying, we got this next year under your belt. We truly believe in you, and you're not going to believe in somebody when you're drafting a guy, especially a high-profile name like a Shedeur Sanders. Now, nobody really expected him to fall the way that he did, but the Arizona Cardinals also went ahead and brought in a very good, stable, very good backup quarterback in Jacoby Brissett in free agency, which can very well win you some games if Kyler Murray needs to sit out a few weeks if injured. Now, like I said before, if he does truly want to start running the ball a lot more, I'm game. I'm 100% truly believe that the Arizona Cardinals offense can be a lot better when we are adding Kyler Murray's legs into it. But you got to believe that there is a level of you're adding risk to the idea that a quarterback with already the small stature that he's got in 5'10", 7 pounds, 110 pounds, and what he is, if he gets hit by a big linebacker or a defensive lineman, there is going to be a lot of damage to be caused. So there is a lot of level of risk what comes down to if Kyler Murray uses his legs more, but that's what makes Kyler Murray dynamic, right? That's what makes Kyler Murray a potential MVP candidate when he uses his legs and when he's able to throw the ball deep down the field to Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, Michael Wilson, right? Those are the things that make Kyler Murray great. So what I would love to see from Kyler Murray and this Arizona Cardinals organization, obviously a playoff berth, a playoff win is what I would love to see. This is the team that this Arizona Cardinals organization truly believes that can take us to that next level. Now, like I said, there's a little concerns, there's a little unknowns when it comes down to if I was the general manager, but there's a reason why I'm not the general manager. I'm not Monty Ossenfort. I don't have his smarts. He believes in it. He thinks that the Arizona Cardinals have a team to compete in 2025. Now, as long as everybody can stay healthy, I truly believe this Arizona Cardinal team can do that. But there's going to be a lot of eyes. And if it doesn't happen the way that people predict, or when they're looking at the schedule, doing their schedule predictions, there's going to be a lot of serious, uncomfortable conversations happening at the end of the 2025 season. So, massive year for Kyler Murray. Do I believe he can do it? Yes, I do. But it all starts with, can you win those big games in November and December? Ladies and gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts here in the comments below? Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cardinals.